Every week. Hello, lads and ladies. Welcome back. League One Live. It's Saturday. We're doing a show Saturday night. Is it Saturday? This time of year, days get lost. Now it's League One Live. It was a Boxing Day bonanza. We had so many goals. It was the second highest goal scoring week of the season so far. Boxing Day always delivers. It's creme de la creme. It's the best day of the year, in my opinion, in the footballing calendar. So, hope you're all well. Hope you all had a good Christmas. Let's get into some League One Live. Now, I've got some bad news. Unfortunately, for you watching at home, I've got Jake Tong here as my co-host today. I thought, he wouldn't be able to make it, but he's here. I'm going to get him in now. How are you, mate? All right, pal?
Rob Street again, ole, ole. Come on! What a week.
Can I just ask you a question, Jake? Obviously, you couldn't tell they won yesterday. How many times have you looked at the League One table or the highlights from yesterday?
No, I'm not like a certain Stevenage fan. I looked at it once after the game, and then I just, when you're just this good, mate, you're used to it, aren't you? So, it doesn't even make me smile. It's just expected now. Do you know what I mean?
Hello. Well, don't worry, mate. Lincoln are on fourth now.
Don't worry, Jack.
I said this to Jake before. Not Jack. You're Jack.
I'm Jack.
Lincoln, I don't like putting first because I like building up, especially when they've won or they've lost.
Just explain to everyone. So, obviously, you were at Tranmere yesterday, right? Unfortunate result didn't go Fleetwood.
Oh, what happened? What I did.
We can have a talk about it.
Yeah,
Let's talk about your reaction when you got on the coach.
No. I'll tell the full story. I'll tell the full story, right? So, this man lives rent-free in my head, right? And I will also just saying how...
They got comments, by the way.
From the influence of other people, we'll get to it, don't we? My notifications for my games, just seeing Lincoln and Fleetwood are Lincoln above Fleetwood. I think that's something to do with
that's exactly how it always will be, mate.
Yeah.
Get used
to higher league, pal. It's a higher league, right? It's not because of my favourites, I basically went to the game and I thought, right, I had notifications. But obviously I had sleep, so I went onto a nap when there was a bit of a lull. Stockport 0, Lincoln 1. And I put my phone in my pocket, I went, they're doing it again. I went. And then obviously said to my dad, I went, he's selfish. And he goes, what? Because Lincoln are winning? I went, yeah, selfish. I went, he goes, look at me. I've got to be in the champ. Thinking they're doing it. Because Lincoln have got this thing about scoring between 20 minutes and 35 minutes, right? Read to the Y. When the crowd says go high, I'm thinking 1-0. And then at 1-1, I'm thinking, thinking at that point, what Lincoln were going to do what they normally do. A big Stockport are a big club, but they're a big team at this level. They're a good team at this level. What Lincoln normally do in that situation is they go and lose 2-1 or they'll draw it and they'll be like, oh, here we go. And I thought 1-1, they'll be happy with that. Anyway, finish my vlog, get on the coach. I get a text and he says, see. I was like, something's happened here. Check my phone. I just look at it and I think, Stockport 1, Lincoln 2, and I just think, why do I bother? I was like, here we go again. That man is going to be unbearable. But in another way, I was very happy for you, mate. And Fleetwood lost yesterday, but I still rang you. And we spoke about Lincoln for about 40 minutes, and then we had about 2 minutes on Fleetwood.
Hold on a minute.
It was a bit like talking to David as well.
Oh.
Burton. No, it was good.
You're a jammy git. Yeah, no. But it's been a good 6 days. Obviously beating Cardiff. Christmas, I don't know. I hope everyone here had a wonderful Christmas with their loved ones. I certainly had a nice Christmas with my loved ones. I hope you did as well. I know, Ben, you were one of the grafters. You were working on Christmas, but you did pretty well, didn't you? You made some extra money, so that was all good for you. And then, yeah, I mean, just a really good day out yesterday. I mean, I can talk about it now. I've told you my story about getting in the fan zone at Stockport.
Yeah.
So the fan zone, as I met up with Russ, who, as many people who listen to League One content will know, he runs the Scarf Bagara War podcast. And He very kindly bought me a drink. We went in a Stockport only bar.
Oh,
Fantastic.
it's not like you to be bought a beer, mate, and you not.
No. I like to be generous. I like to get my hand in my pocket. You know me, nappers.
Still waiting for it to happen 4 years.
Right, steady on. Think of all the showers you've had at my place.
He charges me £3 a shower, Sue. Sorry, it's gone down £2.50.
You're such a stirrer. And as you know, if you've been to Stockport, the home fan zone is home fans only. Anyway, Russ said, just flash your ticket in. You'll get in absolutely fine because all tickets look the same. So I covered up on the ticket stub. It says the railway on, which is clearly the away end. So I put my thumb over that, flashed the ticket, and the steward on the door went, "No, you're not getting in, mate. You're an away fan. I know you are. I can tell you're an away fan." Anyway, so all my mates, Flowers, Chris, and Rudy, all got in the fan zone. I'm thinking, right, it's just me. They're picking me out. Ben, you wanted it to be because someone knew me from League One Live. Unfortunately, not quite. Not yet.
Whatever happens, just say Napper says no.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. So I'll go around and talk to Russ and his mates, and a geezer sends me his season ticket from Stockport on his phone, sends me it, and then gives me a hat. Right, so there's some undercover mission work.
Stockport hat.
I stuck this Stockport hat. I stuck this hat on, right, and I went to the other steward. I kept my eyes away from the bloke who didn't let me in, and I flashed me this season ticket. He went, "Yeah, go on in, mate." And I just felt like an absolute little mischievous menace until I got a hand on the shoulder. And then we were removed. But such is life. It was good fun. It was good. It was really good. So. Yeah, that was funny. And then we won the game. And honestly, Ben, is there a better way to win an important game of football than in the 90th minute away from home?
No, I think the better losing than 1-0 after you should have been 3-0 in the first 10 minutes, I think, mate. But no, I fully agree with you. Let's say hello to the people in the chat. Up the chickens. Good evening. Rob Street again, LA. Hello, Parmex. Good to see. Last minute goals. Some score them, some concede them. Good evening. Hello, Callum. All right, pal.
My name's not Jack Tong. That's not right.
Yeah, it is. And I'll say it now. I think it's absolutely stupid. There's a game on Monday. I've never understood it. I've never understood the scheduling. There's 3 months from from September to December where there's no midweek game at all for League One or League Two or for those two leagues, right? Why is that? It's 4 games in 10 days is absolutely ridiculous. It shouldn't be happening. I love football, but we're playing Friday. Fleetwood are playing Friday, Monday, Thursday, Sunday, Friday, Tuesday, Saturday. It's like ridiculous. Hello, good to see you. Hope you're well. Big up. Hope you're well. Fluke again.
Look at this Bolton fan, mate. Yeah. Dave. Get over
Big
it.
Thank you to Sam as always. $4.99 donation. Appreciate that, mate. Hope you're well. Yeah, I always congratulate. That's one thing I'll always congratulate, and then I go and hide. So yeah. Hello. Hope you're well. I went to the MK Dons yesterday. 9,800.
Big win for the Dons.
Yeah, 5,000 were actually there. Good to be back. Stockport is good. We learned yesterday. Bloxham again, LA. We will come to it. Right, shall we start? Burton Albion 5, Northampton 1. Burton's first goal, I don't know how it went in. The second goal, I don't know how they didn't defend it. The third
Can we not
goal
start with the best stat of all, Ben? And this is rehearsed, so let me just jump in. It's the first time Burton scored 5 goals in a league game in 208 games, right?
Well, I'll give you a stat.
Can you tell me the last team that Burton scored 5 against?
Is that league games?
Yeah, league games. The last team
Burton Albion scored 5 That against. Is 5 seasons ago.
Let me give you a clue because
that is 5 seasons ago.
I've got the information here. Wait there.
I'm going to go for Crewe.
You're going to go for Crewe, right?
No,
okay. I'll give you a clue, Ben. I'll give you a clue, right? The game was a 5-2 win for Burton on the 27th.
Oh, shut up!
2021.
Shut up!
Oh, Brewers! was.
I remember that now, actually.
Remember?
Because Fleetwood had nothing to play for at the time, even did Burton. And I'll tell you a little story about that. Go on. So Josh Feeney was 15 years old at the time, and he was on the bench for Fleetwood that night. And we had 3 games to go at the end of the year. And he would have been the youngest ever player to play for Fleetwood in football. And Grayson didn't put him on, even at 4-2 or 5. I'm like, just for like 5 minutes. And there was a bit of a disappointment there. But Burton Albion's 4 first-half goals against Northampton is the most in the opening 45 minutes of a league game since 2014. Who was that against, Jake, if we're going to do quizzes?
Well, it wasn't us because we're in the National League, so I don't really care.
They're now in the National League doing very well.
Oh, Rochdale.
Close, Carlisle. Big win for Burton. They're defending for all 5 goals. The third one's comical. The second one's bad. The third one's even worse. The 5th one, Shader's just got the old pitch to go and run into. Look, Burton won 6 league games at home last year. They've already won 4 in 11. On the bottom Boxing Day last year, Burton had collected just 12 points from 22 matches, and they are now at 27 points. Also, by the way, level with Northampton, Jake, who you've criticised Burton quite a lot on this channel this season, especially recently. You're worried about them. However, Northampton, they're the golden child, and you rate what
they are my golden child.
You rate what Nolan's doing, which I agree, he's doing a good job. They are level on points, and I think Northampton have a better overall squad than Burton Albion right now. Burton have been struggling with injuries. There's some good players in that Burton squad, but Northampton, you would probably feel, would be more likely to stay up over Burton Albion over the last couple of seasons, especially. Look, Burton Albion, 12 points from 22 last year. They only had 26 points from 33. It took them 34 games to get to 29 points last year, where they drew away at Crawley and they won those 3 games in a row. I think they won all the way at Stevenage, won away at Bristol Rovers. I think they won a home game. I think they won somewhere else as well. They had that spell of that week where they were just great, and they got those points on the board, and that's where they're at 27 points after 21. They've been pretty solid. You're now looking at Burton Albion being another 24 points off, and it's 7 wins, 3 draws. And Gary Bowyer's done a fantastic job at that football club over the course of the last 12 and a half months or so. He's done a very good job, but the defending from Northampton leaves a lot to be desired.
Well, it's pathetic.
Sorry, Jake. Come on.
I'm allowed to say that word in moderation. I'll have you know. It was
not 3 times in a row and waving your hands around.
I think it was perfectly valid when I said it. However, the defending for those goals are it's schoolboy stuff, isn't it? I can forgive the penalty, giving the penalty away, but like the ball across, why has he played it like that? Like, why has he played it lofted to give Lofthouse an opportunity? The lad doesn't know that he's there. But the third goal's horrific. Playing that higher line against a player like Tyrese Shade, who literally just wants to get in behind, it is pretty much his only real skill set is getting in behind and stretching the game. Admittedly, he's took his goal as well, but it's true.
Good in front of goal?
Eh?
Good in front of goal?
10 goals in all comps, 5 against non-league teams. I'm not saying that he's good in front of goal. Hold on, Ben. Before that, right.
I agree with you, but I'm just thinking, like, if Freddie Draper had done that, you'd be going, well, he can only score his put in front of him. He's in double digits already. If you've got 20 goals in all comps.
Fred would never do that. Fred runs in treacle. Fred would never do that, bless him. Fred would never do that. However, I'm waiting for Tyrese Shea to score a goal as good as Freddie Draper did away at Northampton.
Oh, come on.
We'll wait and see.
Bank.
Not this year.
David, don't be clipping all these, mate.
Look, I thought it was shambolic. I mean, the third goal, the own goal, is awful. Is frantically awful. But you have to give credit to Burton. You got to beat what's in front of you, right? They've got to. You've got to do the. You've got to do it, and they took their chances when they came, albeit quite fortuitously. So, Yeah, no, it was a good win for Burton, like you say. It's like, I think they got 15 more points than they did this time last year. Is that right? The points differential is 15. They're on course for 59 points, and I spoke with David earlier this morning about that. And if they finish on 59 points, they're going to be probably safe with 2 or 3 games to go, which I think for a Burton fan would be much, much better than it has been over the last couple of years. So yeah, a big win for them. My only worry is Burton don't score a lot of goals, right? I said this to David. My concern is maybe they've scored all the festive goals in one game. That does worry me.
They just scored 5-1, and you're concerned.
Yeah, of
Could
course.
they score goals at once?
Yeah, I think they might have scored all the goals because they're not. Ben, before the game yesterday, they were the second lowest scorers in the league. So I think it's a pretty valid concern.
If Northampton won 5-1 yesterday, would you say
they haven't? They've scored more goals, haven't they?
Well, Northampton are a low-scoring team. They don't score a lot of goals.
Northampton have scored 1 less than Burton now, so they've scored 4 more than Burton before you. No, I wouldn't have been worried about Northampton because they have more goals than them. Burton had 18 goals in 21 games before yesterday. Northampton had 22 in 20, so much more. Point is, it's a good win for Burton, Ben. That's the point.
Very, very good win for Burton. Northampton just need to make sure it's not a too long bump in the road and get back to winning ways.
Correct.
5 goals scored, Burton deserve humongous credit. Huddersfield 5, Port Vale 0, and it's the biggest league win since 2016 where they beat Charlton Athletic, also 5-0. 7th clean sheet of the season for the Terriers, and back-to-back wins now, 4 unbeaten, 1 defeat in 6, 4 wins, 3 draws, 1 defeat in the last 8. They're moving in the right direction now, Huddersfield. They're scoring a lot of goals. That goal difference up to +9, so that took a boost. We'll get on to Vale in a minute, but for Huddersfield, scoring 8 goals across 2 weeks, slowly finding their feet at a time where it's a busy period, where the players that have been frustrated with the lack of game time, with the 1 game a week, these 4 games in 10 days or so, every player could have probably been needed. That's why you build a squad at the start of the year. That's a big win for them. And they picked Port Vale off a number of occasions and could have had 10.
Leo Castledine.
The first goal for that, by the way, was horrific defending.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was. But I think Leo Castledine is an absolute step above, right, for this level. I mean, again, yesterday, another 2 goals to add to his collection. He's carrying this team, aren't he? Leo Castledine is dragging this team to the playoff race at this point. And if they lose him in January, which is what is reportedly happening, if he's going to go back to Chelsea to be sold to a team in the Championship or whoever, Huddersfield could probably actually afford to buy him, the money that they spunk on players. That would be a monumental issue because in a lot of games, he has dragged them over the line. And yesterday, coming up against a Port Vale team who admittedly weren't great, but still getting 2 goals. He had a big part to play in the match as a whole, getting the link from the attack, from the midfield to the attack. He is that because Harness and Ledson are more, maybe perhaps a little bit more conservative, and he goes and joins him with Sean Rowan on that left-hand side, and Bojan Radulovic, who obviously got an assist and a goal yesterday as well. So, yeah, they're looking better, Huddersfield, aren't they? It feels like with the squad that they've got, probably one of the best on paper in the entire league, right? It feels like eventually they had to have a performance like this. The quality that they've got in depth. I mean, you look at the lads that have come on, Kasumu, Sorensen, Dion Charles, Joe Taylor, an unused sub, Roos going to come on as well, Ashia, young lad as well. So, yeah, it was a great performance, emphatic. It's a bit of a statement to the rest of the league that they are here to play. Port Vale, I mean, well, the 10 points adrift, Ben, of safety. And I hate to say I told you so to Port Vale fans, but I told you so at the start of the season. Do you remember, Ben, I got a load of jip off Port Vale fans saying they go straight back down. And yet here they are, 22 games into their season, they're already 10 points clear. They look cut adrift, and you can't tell where they're going to come from. You can't tell where the next point is going to come from, never mind a win on home soil or away from home. So, yeah, fair play to Huddersfield. I thought they were very, very good. Port Vale, shambolic, and it really does feel like, admittedly, and maybe I got my stance on Darren Moore ever so slightly wrong, but I don't think that team is of League One quality whatsoever. I don't think he's assembled a squad good enough to stay up, and the table doesn't lie, does it, halfway through?
He's a good manager if you put good players in front of him. I don't care. He got 96 points to Sheffield Wednesday. That deserves humongous credit. But that was a really, really good squad. And to be good managers get the best out of players that they've got. And they deserve humongous credit because you've got to go and do it on a basis. He did it Wednesday. He got promoted with Vale. He looked good at Doncaster. He built a team. But it feels like that was because Doncaster were on a good run at the time. Darren Moore's sides are electric for 10, 15 games. And then they go 10, 15 games where they're even worse than they were as good, if that makes sense. So they're like 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 when they're good, but when they're bad, they're like minus 15, minus 20. And that worries me. I think he's a fraud, personally. They can knock us out the cup for all they like. I don't think he's a good manager. There's some managers that get jobs built on a height that they've got. I never understood it. They give him a 5-year deal on a relegation season. What's he won 5 games across? What? 35 League One games, maybe 40 League One games. I don't care if the squad's not good enough. You've got to do better than that. And he got promoted last year. All right. The 4 clubs that went up, there was no doubts over Johnny Jackson. There was no doubts ever about Grant McCann or Graham Alexander. There was doubts about Darren Moore last year. When you get promoted and there's doubts about your manager at times, as soon as you start losing a few the next year, you're going to be gone, because Vale were good enough to get a point or win the game in League Two that now they are, if they concede a goal, they will, if there's 1 goal in it, they lose it 1-0 rather than win it 1-0. And that is my issue with them. I think the squad is a low quality squad, but it's much better than it's performing. They're 10 points adrift. They're conceding goals. And that is a huge worry. Look, they've only scored in 1 game across the last 9. Or 2 across the last 11, if you want to go that far. They've only scored in 8 of the games this year. Now, in games, we're playing well at the start of the year. Now, playing well and losing is a bad thing when you're Port Vale, because you're not like you're going to be Bolton. You're not like you're going to be Stockport. You're not like you're going to be a Cardiff that you can go and win games of football and not be great. Cardiff will probably be good out of 46 games, probably 30 times a season, right? Be good. They'll probably be okay, maybe 7 or 8, and they'll be poor 7 or 8 times across the season, right? But over the course of the season, that's fine because they'll get points. Whereas Port Vale, they'll probably be good 10 times across the season, really good. And that is your chance to go and get your 30 points and then go and dig out your other 20 points somewhere else, which you can do. It feels like they had 7 or 8 of those good games already, and they've lost them. And that's a sign of a poor side in big moments. Vale are the classic example. When they've been in League One, they do all the wrong things. Every time they come down here, they get it so wrong. The recruitment, the way they build. When Vale go down to League Two, they build a connection. That comes from winning games of football, but recruiting the right players. Like when they went down last time, they brought in Byers, Talai. They had a good summer. Hennigan, Stockley. They built a really, Ronan Curtis, they built a really good squad. And that built momentum, and that built excitement. They were winning games of football. And it felt this time when they went back in, they had a bit of momentum behind them that they didn't have 2 years ago. And that's been dashed. And with Christmas, even 2 months ago, there was excitement still because they were playing okay and have chances. They went to Huddersfield yesterday, didn't have a shot on target, got nowhere near them. And my worry for Vale is they are losing odd games 1-0. Now, they lost to Peterborough 1-0 at home. That game against Doncaster, they lost 1-0. Exeter, they went there and won, to be fair to them. Rotherham, I think the first game of the season, they lost by the odd goal. Played poorly. Plymouth, they lost by the odd goal. Wigan, they lost by the odd goal. So from the sides around them, they're drawing 0-0 or losing 1-0. That is really, really poor. And for me, Darren Moore's so far out of his depth, and they're going to go down with a whimper. Because the sides above them have shown something. They're a very, very poor watch. I don't care what anyone says. They're a very, very poor watch. And they need to do some work when they go down this time, because it's okay going back up again, but you're only going to get bullied in the next league. And
Do you think they need extra investment, Ben? Because as much as good as the owner, Sharon's been very good, right?
They don't have a big budget, but one thing they do right at that football club is the training ground's okay. They get the meals, they get all the stuff sorted for them. They are ran well, but they're just like that nounce at this level.
I think, look, I think with Vale is if the recruitment on paper looks good, I think what they need to do is go and sign young, hungry players. Right, Port Vale are so big on experience and signing experienced players, aren't they? Like you look at the lads that have come in over the summer: Cam Humphreys, experience; Jordan Gabriel, experience; Devante Cole, etc. Obviously, a couple of years ago they signed George Byers, didn't they? Experienced players, etc. But I think when you get promoted, you want to have players that are on an upward trajectory. And I look at that Port Vale team, and I think, okay, but who are they going to sell on for Who are they going to sell on for some money? Do you know what I mean? You look at all these teams down the bottom, like at least they've got some sort of asset that you think, a club higher up in League One might take a punt, or a club higher up in the football pyramid might take a punt on him. I don't see that with Port Vale. I really don't see that with them.
There's not many players that you'd take at other League One clubs either.
Not at
but
all.
Take nothing away from Huddersfield. Darren Moore came out and said, they're a top team at this level, which I thought was quite rich because he got them relegated. So it was a big part of why they got relegated. Look, he's a nice guy, Darren Moore, but so far out of his depth, it's unbelievable. Full credit must go to Huddersfield. This can't be just a little bit of a boost now, because with Huddersfield, they get a couple of wins, they get a bit of momentum, they get close to the playoffs, and then they just go and throw in a bit of a stinker, don't they? And they need to challenge that. And they're home to Northampton next, which is a big game for them, because they think, well, okay, if you go and win that game of football, they should be looking at winning most games at this level, especially they've got Lincoln away on New Year's Day. If they can get 4 points out of those 2 games, it'll be very, very good. And then all of a sudden, you're looking at the next game after that. Who do they play on the floor? They play Exeter at home. If they can go and get 7 out of those 3, that'd be unbelievable, by the way. Absolutely unbelievable. So, fair play to them. We've had a couple of members join. That's safe. Well done to them. Dave Nash has joined as a member. And thank you very much to Jess for joining as a member as well. Appreciate you.
Go on, Jess Drury.
There we are. Appreciate it. If you fancy joining as a member, join below. All the latest content. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. We're 16 subscribers away. I think let's have an update from 18.3. We've been stuck on 18.2 for a while. So if you could subscribe, over 50% of people who watch these streams, no, actually now 14 away. So if you could subscribe, that'd be appreciated. First time at Luton fan. Appreciate it. Welcome to the chat. Always good to see new people in the chat. Like I say, it's good to see Luton won yesterday. It was unfortunate that they couldn't quite get through in the FA Cup, but Shaden Morris scored yesterday.
Oh, here we go.
Sorry. Fleetwood don't win many games of football.
You drew with them. You drew with them. You drew with them.
The penalties. Let me have my moment, Jake. I don't get many now. Plymouth 1, Reading 4. Quick question. Did you expect this? Like Plymouth, it feels like we're going back in time of about a month ago. It feels like they've been really good, and you thought, this is it. 2-0 Plymouth win, 4 wins in a row. Plymouth, you're looking at them thinking, tell you what, we're looking up the table now, and we're starting to think that, Plymouth would have won that. They're now 20th. They've been on 28 points and potentially in the top half, but potentially 13th, 7 points off the playoffs, but albeit they're just a point above the relegation zone. And now with a big L in front of them, and Reading are the team that are 11th with 3 points ahead of them. It's just mental, isn't it?
Yeah, they can't quite get away from it, can they? From the bottom 4 can Plymouth. Yeah, look, yesterday, I think it was the tone was set, wasn't it? That early tone, that early red card, and giving the penalty away. I mean, I think the referees I think the rest got it right, Ben. I don't think there's no intention from Rawls to play the ball, is there? So for me, and technically, it's dangerous what he did. So I think the decision to go Red was correct. I know Plymouth fans I've spoken to some Argyle fans, they are adamant that it should go the other way. But that set them up, and once Reading go 1-0, but it's basically 2-0, 3-0 even before you can flash, you can blink your eyes, because they were so quick and so effective, weren't they, Reading? And as much as it is to Plymouth's detriment, and being down to 10 men had a massive part to play, of course it did. But I think you have to give a huge amount of credit to Reading. The way that they manipulated the ball and the way they moved the ball around, the goals were lovely. Wing, again, obviously scoring another one. Kamari Doyle, big fan of him, obviously ex-Grecian as well. So that will mean that the Exeter fans would have enjoyed that one particularly. But yeah, I don't know about Plymouth then, because like you say, it felt like they were on track. It felt like they were going to, a couple of home games. We said, didn't we, Reading and Wycombe to come over the next couple of days, both really be winnable games. If they can win both of them, they're pretty much within the playoff conversation. Whereas now, one team that have done that in Peterborough, who we'll talk about a little bit later, you're talking about Plymouth, and they've just not been able to get out of it. That's cute, James. But yeah, I think you do have to give credit to Reading, the way they picked them off. Playing against 10 men is not the easiest of tasks, but playing against 10 men whose heads completely dropped when they went down, went down to 10 is much easier. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Plymouth, and it just feels like as soon as they start to turn a corner, there's a sharp decline in form for them.
They're a very mentally fragile team, I think. I think when they do well, you see elements of a top 6, top 10 side. But when it goes wrong, they struggle. And I think they struggle for pressure. I think that there's a number of players there that struggle with the atmosphere at home park when it goes bad. They love it when it goes right. I'll say it. Go on, I'll say it. I think Brendan struggled at times to get critics at Fleetwood. Well, okay, you're playing in front of 2,000, 2,500 people on a good day. But Fleetwood fans will let you off. You were captain of the football club, and you go to Plymouth, it's totally different there. You make a mistake there. Fleetwood fan, I'll be honest with you, I'm soft as anything, right? I don't call a lot of players out, right? I hate doing it. I probably should at times, but I don't do it, right? You go down to Plymouth, I tell you what, you watch some of their vlogs, they're calling you out like you won't believe. They'll call you every name under the sun. If you want to watch that, then fair play. It's other clubs, smaller clubs, you get it easy. You go to Plymouth down there, they're a passionate bunch. But it's their life, it's their extreme. And when it goes bad, you're not good enough. And it can mentally affect you as a footballer. And I think that a bad start for them, there's so much on the shoulders, you're thinking perfect. If I was a manager going to Home Park, I'd be thinking, go there, waste time, frustrate them, go down, buy the referee, get free kicks, and get the crowd against them. Because as soon as the crowd goes against them, bang. And I'll be in the away end thinking, as a fan of that, thinking 50 minutes in, rubbing hands going, we've got these, because you just know that the Reds are going to go. Never meant sent off, and you're thinking, right, stick in the game. They're going to concede 2 minutes later. Then they're going to concede another 2 minutes later. Then they're going to concede another 5. You're 3-0 down after 20 minutes. The game's done. Like, the game is gone. Done. Dusted after 20 minutes. And all of a sudden, the hard work they've done over the last 3 games has gone, because you're thinking, yeah, full credit must go to Reading because they picked him up and played well. Lewis Wing got a praise up to 6th of the season. Jack Marrie's been excellent since coming into the football club. Look, Jack Marrie is a 20-goal-a-season striker at this level. I still believe that. I think what's he got, 7 or 8 maybe since going into Reading. He scored a lot of goals. Mm-hmm. He scored I think 5 in a row, didn't he? Then he didn't score for a couple, but he's been good amongst the goals. He scored 31, I believe, or 34 one season at Peterborough. Even at Fleetwood, in a struggling side, he scored I think 7 or 8 goals at the back end of the season. Scored a hat-trick away at Aki. He's a good player, and he scored goals at Wrexham. He's a very good pickup for a mid-table League One club, which Reading are. Reading are 11th. They've won 7, they've drawn 7, they've lost 7. It feels like they're starting to get a couple of wins now. They've won back-to-back games. I think since Richardson's come in, I think they've won 4, they've drawn 1, they've lost a couple. I think they've only lost 1 in the league. So it feels like with Reading, they had a couple of bad results, but we're judging them over that. They've been good. They've been solid. In last season, they got near to the playoffs. If they have a late run, who knows? It was a good win. If you could keep liking, subscribe and keeping your comments coming. That will be appreciated. If you fancy a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a drink, a quick nap, 10 minutes here now. We're going to have a quick break. Stockport 1, Lincoln 2. Hey, Jay. Hey, how are you, mate?
This is the moment I've been waiting for. What do you want to say? What do you want me to say, mate? What do you want me to say? Like, that's what we do, isn't it?
Big win. I said to you, Lincoln needs to go and make a statement. Lincoln made a statement against Cardiff. Need to do it again. Biggest statement of the season so far. Biggest win of the match week. How far would you, in terms of results of the season in the whole league, where would you put it up there?
Oh, for us,
going to Cardiff, I thought was big at the time. Winning there 3-1.
I don't know. Stockport haven't been great at home, have they? They've lost 4 games at home. They hadn't won since beating Exeter at home in the start of, I think it was the middle of October. That was our last home win. So I get why people think this is maybe a statement. And it is a statement because Stockport are a good side. If you finish above Stockport, you'll definitely be in the top 6. So to go there and win is particularly good. But I think backing up that win against Cardiff with a win away at Stockport and in the manner in which it happened as well, we did particularly well. We deserved to win both games of football. I think that's the biggest statement out of, ahead of the results, to be honest. So yeah, look, it was good, mate. It was good. And it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't. We didn't get fortunate. In my opinion,
how much did you pay the ref to give you a penalty in the last minute?
We didn't, because it was a clear penalty, and you've seen it and said the same. And so was theirs, right? I have no concern. I had no issue. Conor McGrandles and Brad Hills probably having a bit too much of a get. They're getting to know each other a little bit too well. It was a good save from George. It really was, and I think his defenders let him down ever so slightly. But yeah, look, in that game, I thought in the first half they didn't have a shot on target. It's a Stockport County at home. They came out quickly. They had a couple went off target. Jack Diamond popped one over the bar that was deflected. There were a couple of corners, but I never really was concerned. We had a good couple of opportunities. There was one cleared off the line. There was a corner that hit the bar. Rico had obviously scored the goal. Jack Moylan put one that was well saved at the keeper that Rico could have scored the rebound. And to be honest, I thought Stockport were quite lucky to go in 1-0. I did. I thought that was the state of the game. I turned to Matt and Lep and I said, are we going to regret not taking these chances? Because Stockport will have a period in the game when you go to Edgley Park. They will. And they got the penalty and the crowd got on side. And you've been to Edgley Park, Ben. The fans can get on top of you and it can be a really hard place to go. And that banging, that drum in the beat in the Cheadle end was going pretty well. And they did. The fans got behind. But what was really impressive for me was, you said at the start of the show, Lincoln last year would have lost that game, because they would have been caught by the momentum of Stockport. We killed it really well. We took our time over the throw-ins. We, made fouls when we needed to. We went down when we needed to. We just killed them. We stopped the momentum. And once we got over that and gone, do you know what? They've not really threatened us since the goal. Let's go and try and win the game ourselves. And we did. We hit the post. Hinchcliffe made a couple of saves. We had some corners that went close as well. And then all that hard work goes into winning a penalty right at the end, and Rob Street converts it. And it feels like a big moment, because it is a big moment. Winning away at Stockport is a big moment, and for Rob, that will do him the absolute world of good. He's maybe not been as prolific as he would have liked to be, but he worked hard yesterday. Moylan was fantastic. I just thought we looked a very good side, and we matched Stockport in terms of, a lot of people have said Lincoln are not a good footballing team. We played some very good football yesterday, in terms of we popped the ball around on the floor around them very nicely. Ollie Norwood didn't have a huge amount of say in the game, which I thought he would, which is massive testament to Tom Bayliss, to Ivan Varfolomeu, who came on and did really well, and most importantly to Conor McGrandles. Yes, he gave the penalty away, disappointing, but still, it's been a good 6 days, Ben. It's been a really good 6 days, and yesterday was a good performance. So I'm very happy. And look, we're second in the league, 41 points. we need 9 to make sure we're here next year at the very least. So let's get that over and done with first, shall we?
13 points away from home now. Sorry, 4th best away record in the league. You've only conceded 13 away from home, and it's a big win. 5 wins from 7, which is very good. And you can sometimes get sucked into one game being a disappointing result, right? I used to be the world's worst for it. I'll be honest with you. How I look at it now is I look at it from spells of games. So periods in the season on games, and I'll always mention it in my videos. So, for example, the period now is Boxing Day, the 29th, the 3rd, and the 4th. It's 4 games. How you look at your game and you're thinking, how many points would you want from those games? And you've got Stockport, you've got Barnsley, you've got
Blackpool,
Huddersfield, and you've got
Peterborough at the other end of the new year.
You look at it and you're thinking, from those, you've got some tough games. You're thinking, you probably would have taken 7, maybe 6, 7, from those 4. But you've got 3 already. Right?
What was that, Ben? What was that? 6, 7, did you say?
Oh, shut up. You're literally nearly.
You said it, not me.
You're literally nearly 30 years of age.
If you had said 6 or 7,
nearly 30 years of age.
You had said 6
making
or 7.
childhood jokes. So yeah, 6, 7.
I'm just giving myself the ick. Apologies, everybody.
Anyway, so you look at it and you think, I can't believe I've just done that. I didn't actually mean to do that either.
Clip it up, people. Clip it up.
You're looking at it right, because Dave was definitely going to do that. You look at it and you think now, if you're going to lose to Barnsley and you draw your next 2, or you win 1 and you lose your 2, it's not bad. And that's one thing I'll say. If you're a football fan, look at it in periods. It helps. It can get frustrating, don't get me wrong, because you've got to look at it as a 4-game period. But if you lose your first one, you're under real pressure. And then after that, you look, and I'd look at it as right. So, for example, with Fleetwood, obviously, because I know our fixtures, I'll be looking at, obviously, Port Vale and Doncaster. I think there's a Saturday, Tuesday game. You look at it as those 3 games, and you're into February then. Instead of looking at it as monthly, I try and look at it every fortnightly. And then a bit of a goal. But Lincoln are doing that fantastically well. And you go back to the Blackpool game, that's a good point. You're 2-0 up, but you drew the game. You got a point, and you've now won your back-to-back games, and you stayed unbeaten. So big win for County though. Just 2 wins, 1 draw, and lost 4 in then the last 7. Still put up a point a game, but Stockport haven't looked quite at it this year. They are in the playoffs. I think 6th. We'll get to the table in a bit, but they haven't looked quite at it. Tell you didn't look at it yesterday. Wycombe Wanderers. Luton 4, Wycombe 0. 9th clean sheet of the season for Luton in 22 matches. Tied with Cardiff, the most clean sheets in the league. 18 points across 11 home games. Just slowly picking up points at home. Big win that yesterday. Helping hand from Will Norris, 14 on the road for Luton. They just need, a bit like Huddersfield, but a bit more of an extreme, need a 3 or a 4 running game period where they win 3 or 4 in a row, and they just get the points up and they're in the playoff. Because with Luton, they have one spring in the summer, and then all of a sudden the baby's out the bathwater when they lose. And that, there, I've gone for
Who was that? Was it Lee Johnson? It was, wasn't
Lee Johnson. One spring doesn't make a summer. I'm not going to throw the baby out the bathwater when we're losing either. Wedding, I was like, oh, here we go. It got started like 2 months later. Big win for them yesterday. But Wycombe, though, again, away from home, they're struggling, aren't they? Just a 1 win in 11, tied with Wigan, the fewest away wins of the season away. Wycombe's away win actually came at Wigan 1-0. They won there twice, didn't they? They won there in the Cup and they won there in the league a couple of weeks later. Big win for Luton. Strikers getting goals. Good win.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Will Norris might have got a little bit too merry over Christmas. 3 mistakes leading to...
What's he doing for that goal? He's giving up.
I think what he's done is... I think he's clearly got no confidence in the lads behind, in terms of behind him in the pecking order, that he'd rather just concede the goal rather than take the red card, right? I don't know. I thought it was shambolic. I think Cal the Dragon got the lowest rating on FOTMob for an individual performance in one of those charity games. Will Norris got a lower mark than Cal the Dragon, a professional goalkeeper. Cal Dragon was meant to be a professional goalkeeper about 3 years ago. If you listen to him ramble on TikTok or whatever, but Will
He
Norris,
reminds me a bit of you, to be fair.
Will what Cal the
Cal the
Dragon?
Dragon, yeah.
It reminds me a lot more of you than he does of me.
No, because he's a goalkeeper and you were a goalkeeper, and you always go, "I'm a goalkeeper myself."
Yeah, I was absolutely, but I never said I was going to go pro like he did. Not publicly, anyway. Maybe to myself and all the girls I was trying to talk to.
You definitely in the club go like, "Oh, I'm a footballer. I've got a penthouse suite."
Yeah, well, yeah, live in the middle of Lincoln, etc. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, no, sorry, you've completely thrown me off here with this pro football chat. It was my fault I brought it up, but yeah, no, a good win for Luton. It feels again similar to maybe what we spoke about with Lincoln. This feels a little bit like a statement for Luton because obviously Wycombe have been in a good side since Michael Duff's come in, so to tear them apart 4-0, Gideon Kadua scoring twice, ex-chair boy as well. That would have been a nice moment for him. He had 2 spells, didn't he, under Matt Bloomfield at Wycombe. But again, like we said with the goals at Northampton, like the defending for some of the goals. I mean, I felt really bad for Sam Bell up front by himself because he's not naturally a centre forward, playing out of position up against the lads at the back for Luton, and Mads Anderson and Ted Mengi, who were both like 6'4", 6'5". You're not going to get an ounce of change out of those two. The way that Michael Duff plays, Sam Bell's never going to do that. So, yeah, a real disappointing afternoon for Wycombe. Lots of individual mistakes that have led to goals. But for Luton, Jack Wilshere slowly but surely is starting to turn results maybe in his favour. I know we said the other week that his points per game was similar to that of Matt Bloomfield, but it does feel like with Jack Wilshere there is that little bit of hope because they've got this performance in them. They've got a dominant. I mean, I remember they won away at Northampton, didn't they? Quite well. They've got this sort of performance in them, and the fight back against Reading the other week was quite admirable. Even though they lost the game, I thought they showed a lot of character to get back into that. So they do have they've got a decent side, right? Of Luton, and I feel like slowly but surely Jack Wilshere was starting to get the best out of them. Would that be fair?
Yeah. Look, they were drawing games, but finding a way to draw them. There was a late one. Was it Leyton Orient? There was a late equaliser a couple of weeks ago. There was definitely a late equaliser away from home somewhere on a Tuesday night. I think it was Leyton Orient. And when you draw games, it's right. I'm a big believer that draws don't last forever. Those draws will either turn into a run of defeats or a run of wins. And sometimes I think they drew 3 in a row. If that 4th game is always the important one, because if you lose that, you're like, we've not won in 4. If you win that, 6 points was 4, 1.5 points a game. People will be loving it, won't they? But then you'll be thinking unbeaten in 4 and you're moving in the right direction, right? Now, they obviously lost, but then they bounced back with a win. And they have got this performance. When it goes right, they're excellent. And at the Kenny, they can throttle teams. They just need to go on a run. Now, you look at their next few games. They've got Leyton Orient at home. It was Leyton Orient that they played, which is a game if they can win that. They go and get 3 wins from the next 3, and then go and maybe get a point against Stevenage or get 10 points out of those games before the visit of Lincoln coming down. They'll be in a good position, Luton. I'm doing it again. I did commentary on the Luton game the other day. I kept going, Lincoln. So I think that over the next 5 games or so, Luton's target will have to be, let's get over 40 points and then move. Because, look, they are only 3 points off the playoff places. And as it stands, they are better than Stockport. Huddersfield have been hit and miss. Look, we're giving Huddersfield the praise. They're only 2 points better off than Luton. They're only 4 behind Stevenage. Yes, Stevenage has got games in hand, but no, that doesn't really mean anything. But there's a gap now. There's 4 points between them and Barnsley. Yes, Barnsley got 3 games in hand, but we'll come to them now. It wasn't great. Big thank you for the donation, Molly, as always. 7 because 7 is the best and 3 for the 3 points. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Very looking forward to welcoming them on Valentine's Day, Sam. Where are you on Valentine's Day? We've got Oldham away.
I do know the answer. Wait there, I'll tell you. Just bear with me. I'll tell you where we are on Valentine's.
Where are you taking on a date?
All right, just be careful. You'll get me in bother. Yes, we've got Bolton at home. Can't wait.
Yeah,
That one went quite well for us. That one went quite well for us last year, by the way, Dave Nash.
I've got a little song when we got relegated. We're all going on a League Two holiday. No more Bolton for a year or two.
I don't think we'll be playing Bolton next year either.
And then guess what? 6 months later, we're getting in the Virtue Cup. Come on. League One again. There we are. We'll go to it now. Jake.
Hello.
I think we need to talk about Barnsley.
Oh, I've been saying it for weeks.
Sue, do you think we need to have a video talking about Barnsley? I'm thinking tomorrow. No, I think video before. Then I think we need to have another chat about Huddersfield. I'm a big believer.
I don't think we need to bother talking about Huddersfield, mate. I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be fine with that.
But I think you're fine on your own now. I'll set you up. Barnsley, 2-0 up. Barnes' issue is keeping clean sheets, more so at home. How many clean sheets do you reckon Barnsley have kept at home in 2025, Jake?
2?
3.
Oh, I wasn't far off. That was my other answer.
I think one was Burton, one was Burton, I think one was Crawley, right, up to February, right? So they were in January or early February. You've kept one, that was against Luton this year. You've got 3 clean sheets. They concede far too many goals. No team have actually got fewer clean sheets this season than Barnsley. The next highest is 4. Barnsley have kept 2. Peterborough away, back-to-back, by the way, once in the Cup and once in the league, 1-0 wins, and then Luton at home. They are a perfect both teams to score if they are at Oakwell. They are perfect for that because they often score goals. Rhys Cleary, again, 11 goal involvement since the start of October, 5 goals, 6 assists. He's coming to life now. And in him, you know, the likes of McGoldrick when he plays, Keeler Dunn, they've got goals in them, but they concede too many. And it's a big, big worry for them. And you look at the last 4 games, they've lost 3 of them. And in them, they've conceded 3 goals a game. That's poor. That's really, really poor. And then the other one, they conceded 2. And I went through and the amount of goals they conceded is ridiculous. And Barnsley are up there, don't get me wrong. They've won 8 of the game. They've lost 7. They've conceded 30 across 19 games. Now, that's 1.5 goals per game. Now, you look at the sides around them, right, that are challenging the players. Yes, Luton conceded 28, but they played 3 more games. Huddersfield conceded 1 more, but played 3 more games. Stockport, 3 less, played 3 more games. And 2 more games, sorry. They're just so hit and miss. They haven't got the squad to cope with it. They're 7 points off the playoffs. I can see Barnsley coming down a few places now because you've got Wimbledon, Peterborough, Orient, Reading, Wycombe, Barnsley, all 6 teams there on 28. Then you've got Burton and Northampton on 27. You've got 3 teams on 26 and then 1 on 25. So really, Barnsley aren't where they are. Barnsley are in 9th in the table position. To be 2-0 up and to capitulate like that at home to Mansfield, who, by the way, to win 3-2 after being 2-0 down away from home, you must love Oakwell because I think they won there. Was it 3-1 there? Opening day of the season. Last year, obviously, Keeler Dunn was taken off the nose off Barnsley. It's the first time, actually, they were 2-0 down and won a game of football away from home. In any game away from home. Since Colchester United in 1819. Big win for them.
Huge win for them, mate, to be fair, yeah. And the thing about Barnsley, Ben, the thing about Barnsley is they just, you back them to score every time, right? But they just give too many simple opportunities. Like yesterday, they just let Mansfield in. The goals again are really poor. And I said it when we beat them a couple of weeks ago that they're so good, so easy on the eye going forward, like genuinely phenomenal. Like just the way that they shift it about, Keeler Dunn, they pop it into nice pockets, whatever. But at the back, they're literally like they're ripped wide open, aren't they? They're just, I mean, you look at the defenders that played yesterday again, like just really poor. I mean, Roberts is meant to be decent, but Shepherd, he's not stepped into life into a Barnsley shirt particularly well. Josh Earl's been very inconsistent. I I've always thought when Barnsley play a back three, Josh Earl's best position is as a left centre back rather than a left back in a four. That's my opinion.
He's awful left back
on Josh Earl. Murphy Cooper, he was pulling off some really good saves, but he's not pulling those saves off anymore. So, and they are electric going forward, right? Reyes clearly deserves a lot of credit, but the man that I think deserves credit for Barnsley is Patrick Kelly. I thought he was outstanding. Got moved out to the left-hand side halfway through the game and made a real impact for them. And it allows Keelan Dunn to score, right? He's the top scorer in the league thus far. But you always rely on them to give chances away. And this Mansfield team aren't any mugs, Ben. They've got some good players up there. Will Evans has been proven to be a decent source of goals since they got promoted. And they just do have the odd goal in them. Aaron Lewis, I know personally, does know where the back of the net is. He scored a couple of goals for Lincoln. A very not a tidy player scored the winner again yesterday. But they're defending. Is it Bland on the line? He just turns away. He just turns his face away from the ball. Just take it in the face and it doesn't go in and you don't lose the game and people are as negative. So, yeah, massive credit to Barnsley. I thought they were fantastic. To Mansfield, I thought they were fantastic in getting themselves back in the game. But Barnsley, you can just always rely on them to give gilt edge opportunities away. And I don't like to say these sort of things on there, but I'm looking forward to going to Oakwell on Monday night. That might come to bite me in the backside. But they give chances away, and with the way that we're playing at the moment, we're probably going to take at least one of them.
Bradford City continue their great home form with their 8th home win of the season, with a helping hand, not down to 10. The Wigan were down to 9 men. Bradford left it late, but 26 points collected across their 11 games now, tied with Lincoln and just a point behind Cardiff and Bolton Wanderers. They are solid. They've scored a lot of goals there, looking nearly 2 a game. And late drama. Bradford City are slowly now moving in the right direction. And they went on a bit of a bad run, didn't they? But that point away at Bolton was a good one. They beat Exeter by the odd goal. They beat Plymouth by the odd goal. They beat Reading 2-0. And then they beat Wigan by the odd goal. And that's what Bradford do. The amount of games they've won this season by the odd goal. The Blackpool one, they won 1-0. They won a couple 3-1. Cardiff and Huddersfield, they won 3-1. Wimbledon, they won 3-2. Stockport 2-1. Luton 2-1. Wycombe 2-1. The amount of games that they just win 5 margin football matches, and that's what Graham Alexander does. He grinds out games of football. He grinds out wins. When it doesn't go well, his football is questioned, and his style of play and what he does, he brings defenders on to see out a game. You start getting questioned, but when he's winning, it's fine. He's a good manager. He plays a good brand of football most of the time. It's not great to watch, but he's winning football and it's effective at this level. And they've hit 40 points already, Bradford, which is not bad for a side that you didn't think it did great business in the summer, Jake. I think they did true business. You look through the squad, they've got
calling me out today, ain't you?
I think that they've got a very good core. They've got experience in the likes of Abud Sore, Brad Halliday, Sarcevic, Humphreys. You've got the quality in Bobby Poynton. You've got 7 this year. They haven't got a lot of flair, but they've got a lot of solidness, and they've got a good core. Big win for them. Obviously, against 9 men, you'd want it done earlier, but that momentum can soon switch. Port Vale, Mansfield, Blackpool, Rotherham are their next 4 before Cardiff and Huddersfield, Lincoln, and Doncaster after that. So these next 4 games, and then on the next day up until the end of January, they've got to play 8 games between now and the next 35 days. We could see Bradford City potentially getting 55, 56 points now.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's a good win yesterday because playing against 10 men is not easy. So playing against 9 men where they're extra quick to close the space down. Look, there's a couple of brain dead moments. I think that the Jensen Weir second yellow card is a bit of a brain rot moment from him. Matt Smith as well, not a great tackle for that red card either. But to play against 9 men and to control it in the manner in which they did, and to eventually get that breakthrough, admittedly from a set piece, great ball in from Max Power and Wright to nod it home. It did sort of feel like it was slowly meandering into one of those afternoons for Bradford because, they were playing against 10 men for 20 odd minutes. They just got themselves been pegged back by a Wigan team who didn't create a huge amount. And we've already had that conversation, haven't we, about Wigan and how they're not they've not much improved from where they were under Sean Maloney. They get themselves pegged back, and the character they showed to go and win that game. A great ball in for Max Powell, and that's a sign of a good team, right? I don't think Bradford were stellar yesterday, and they haven't been in a lot of those games. They're a little bit, Ben. They remind me a lot, actually, of Charlton last year.
Yeah.
And they just win a lot of fine margin games. And like
games you would be drawing normally.
Yeah, and that was a massive testament to Nathan Jones. We said that. It's a massive testament to Graham Alexander that they just got that knack, haven't they, of scoring that second goal and winning the game, or they just got that knack of getting that goal. Even away at Rotherham when they were 2-0 down, you just didn't feel like they would be out of it because they do make chances. And when you've got some good forward players, I mean, Humphreys, what's that now? That's another goal for him. Playing as the 9 this time. I know his position's been quite a talking point for a lot of Bradford fans, Pointing getting involved, Sarcevic as well. But that's a big win for Bradford. In a day in where teams below them drop points in Stevenage and Stockport, to win that and to stay on track with Lincoln and Cardiff is a big win for them. So massive props. Wigan, well, they gave themselves a mountain to climb, didn't they? So I don't feel sorry for them whatsoever.
No, absolutely not. And Sam Tickle done that often enough. I'm just not amazed by Ryan Lowe. I think that you expect a certain quality and you don't get it. I said it the other day, and I'm not going to repeat myself, but I think frustration will soon boil over there, and I think that there might be tensions, and I think there might have to be a change. I just don't see going forward, is he going to be the right man? Because there's already red flags. Bolton left it late, but their home form is impeccable. They're picking up solid points now at home, and 3 wins in 4, 30 goals scored, their 10th win of the season. Josh Sheehan's goal just before half-time and just before full-time. Sam Nombe thought he'd rescued a point, and then Josh Sheehan comes out. Koji Duby does really well on the far side to pull it across. Big win for the Wanderers. And a lot of the ball, a lot of shots, 28 shots yesterday. They played very, very well. That a normal day, Bolton 1-1, they're going away scratching their heads and thinking, we're going to be in League One again. This is why we're here. But they found a way to win a tight margin football match. And this is what Bolton need to carry on doing. We've got Mansfield up next, followed by an away game at Doncaster Rovers before a home game to Northampton. They can just win their next 3 games. It's obviously, it puts maybe, or even get 7 points. But if they can win those next 3 games, they'll make a real clear statement. Get to 46 points from 24. That is nearly 2 points a game. So we're just waiting for Bolton just to crack open the whip a little bit and get going and get showing what they're good. Good win for them. For Rotherham. For Rotherham, they slip inside the bottom 4. 4 consecutive defeats after being 9 unbeaten. Lots of draws in there. But 4 consecutive defeats. Since that defeat to Blackpool, they have struggled a little bit, haven't they? And they've hit a bit of a stutter. They drew to Wycombe just before. They've lost to Huddersfield, Plymouth and Bolton and Blackpool. Look, Plymouth away is a tough game. Huddersfield at home, they're a good side. Wait, Bolton, tough. The Blackpool one's the one that's kind of kicked Blackpool into gear and kicked Rotherham out of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I will give credit to Bolton as much as Dave's not giving any credit to Lincoln this evening. To concede that penalty, for it to go in, and at 1-1, you're just thinking, oh, it's like another Reading. It's another game where we drop points at home, where we've probably been the better team, whatever. Because they were the better team in the game, right? They were creating opportunities and probably could and should have been out of sight. I think to go up the other end and get that goal, Josh Sheehan, slightly fortunate, but I think it's just one of wins you just got to get, isn't it? And the quality that they've got in that squad, like just the fact they're able to start with Sheehan and Arah and then bring on Dempsey, Dolby, Burstow, Xavi Simmons, etc., to really get to stretch the game and completely change it and turn it in their favour. It's huge testament to Steven Schumacher, because last year they don't win that. They draw that. They may even go on and lose it based on how they were under Ian Everett last year. So,
by the way, if you don't remember, do you remember the end of last year? Sorry to interrupt. They played Rotherham, didn't they, at home in April? They had 30 shots. They had about 40 on. They had one off the line at the bar, at the post. The keeper made a couple of good saves. And Rotherham nicked it 1-0. and that dented Bolton's playoff because I was at the game and I went with Cole that day and that night even, and that did them.
Yeah, no, it's a really good result for them. Like we say, it keeps them on track with the teams above them, game in hand. Admittedly, they've got to win it first, but I just thought a really good, decent performance. I know there's a lot of Joel Randall got a lot of stick by all accounts. It was probably one of his best performances in a Bolton shirt. He just missed a bit of a sitter, got jeered off. I don't think that went down too well with a section of Bolton fans, especially a player of his caliber. He will get better and he will end up taking those chances. You just got to have a bit of patience with him. It's still a good win for them. While Lincoln, Bradford, and Cardiff all won above them, it's good that they're able to keep tabs. Rotherham, again, like you say, the 4 defeats on a row now. I think their last win came against us, Ben, if I'm not mistaken, and that was start of November. So they're on a bit of a tricky patch. And again, just without Sam Nomble, do you really think they're gonna score goals? Like, are they? I do worry for. I spoke about Burton earlier in the show. I do worry for Rotherham. If Sam Nomble's not scoring, they're up a creek, aren't they?
Can I just say, we had a comment the other day going about the pronunciations of
Adramola from
Ademola, but also Sam Nomble. He goes, "Why does Jay keep getting his name wrong?"
Well, clearly,
and I just wanted to put, where have you been for the last 4 years?
Yeah, clearly not an OG view of the channel.
Yeah, still remember it right. Big win for Cardiff, 1-0 against Exeter. This is, when I talk about fine margin football matches, Cardiff being in a 1-goal game against Exeter, they'll be thinking, chance here to get a point, nick a point, and stink the gaff out and get a point. And unfortunately, Cardiff just have that bit announced where they can find something out of nowhere. A lovely slip ball through, and Robertson, who, for me,
scored a great goal the other week, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a very, very good player. He's a very, very good player. He's Robertson. We saw it, I think, at Portsmouth, didn't we? 5 or 6 years. He scored one of the best goals I've seen at Highbury, where he shot from about 20 yards out, and he still hit the bar and went in. And it's when you see a goal like that live, and obviously it's a legitimate goal, and they're not like 2 yards offside, and obviously it's a big goal that wins them the game. You just got to say, clap your hands and say fair play instead of players being in offside positions. But Robertson is that player that can go and get you goals from midfield. And look, I have no tactical insight, but I want midfielders playing forwards, running forwards, and Robertson does that. He'll play forwards, make a forward pass, and make a forward run. And when you do that, you're pinning an extra side in. It's a type of game that it's scrappy, it's horrible. Extra coming for a fight. They're coming to make you worse, basically. They're not coming where you can go and play your football, and you have to be resilient, and you've got to find a way of winning it. You're not going to enjoy watching your side. You're not going to enjoy games all season long. But as long as you win those games, it's all that matters. Were Cardiff at the best yesterday? No, they weren't. Did they find a way to win? Yes. And that's what Cardiff now have in abundance. I've noticed with them, I think now with Cardiff, and it's the reason why they are top of the league by 3 points, and they've won 66%, 6.6% recurring of their games of football, 14 out of 21, because they find a way to win tight margin football matches. The one away at Luton in August was a big one for them. The one away at Wimbledon, they scored late, they won 1-0 that night. They beat Peterborough on the opening days of the season 2-1. They found a way against Burnley in the cup. That was a good win for them. Then they went a bit of a bump of the road in about October time, where they were struggling, but beat Reading by the odd goal. Then again, November, they were poor against Blackpool and a good couple of wins against Mansfield to win the month. And then in December, where I think they started to make the statements, 4-3 against Doncaster in that end-to-end game, 3-2 against Huddersfield, similar type of game. But those 1-0s against Stevenage and Exeter, they are the games. Not when you're winning 3-0s or 4-3s, those 1-0s that would be normally 0-0 that you've probably played better in, you deserve to win on the, but normally they would sit in and frustrate you in the last 90 minutes. That I think you'll come back at the end of the year, as it stands, the 3 big wins for them: Stevenage away, Exeter, and Wimbledon. Just for the fact they won them all 1-0, they were all scrapped and they found a way to win. 2 of which were late on as well. Like the Wimbledon was like 93rd. Robertson scored 85th away at Stevenage, and yesterday was 53. So it wasn't late, but they had to scrap. Big win for Cardiff, that full credit. Exeter, it's another opportunity where they'll think, the season won't be judged on that. But I feel a bit for Exeter because, yes, they've lost 4 of the last 6, but they've also won 2. It's not been like normal seasons, like Doncaster won 1 in 15, where Exeter plummeted down. They've just been a bit guilty that they've been a bit hit and miss. They've not been great, but they've not been getting points regularly enough. They don't win. They don't win. They lose, it seems. Exeter, they've drawn 2 of the 21. They've lost 12. That's the issue. You don't pick up enough points. They draw 3. All of a sudden, then, you're looking at being 17 where Exeter want to be. You look at Rotherham, they won a decent run. They were 9 unbeaten. Doncaster had a great start. That boosted them. But Plymouth, Blackpool, Wigan, Mansfield, Northampton and Burton have had good spells in the season and have been on good runs. What do you think of this one?
Annoying, personally, given I thought Exeter were going to go there and do to Cardiff what they were able to do to us earlier in the season. But yeah, they just have that quality moment in them, don't they, Cardiff, where they have the, like you said earlier, now it's just to play their way around low block sides, and that's the reason why I think eventually them and Bolton will get themselves automatically promoted, because they know how to break down teams that come and sit in deep. Whereas I think maybe Lincoln, maybe Bradford, and other teams, Stevenage specifically as well, will struggle to beat teams that sit down in a low block. But when you've got passing ability of the players that they've got, I mean, Dylan Lawler, like you say, for the goal, it's an excellent find for Robertson. But they've got players like Wintle who can play a pass. Alex Robertson, we saw in that Pompey team, didn't we? The way that he can thread a pass. Ashford, Kellerman, and Davis are all very intricate technical players, and Salak is a goal scorer, whether you like it or you don't. He knows where the net is, and no, we didn't score on Saturday, but still, he provides that constant threat. And teams often have to double mark him, and that leaves room for Kellerman and Ashford and Wintle and Robertson, etc. So, yeah, a good win for Cardiff. A little bit annoying, admittedly, but I thought while they weren't maybe vintage, while they weren't free flowing Cardiff that we saw at their best maybe in the last couple of weeks, still to win when you're not at your best against a team that have previously gone to grounds and sat in and dug in and not had shots on target and still win games of football is massive testament to how far Brian Barry Murphy's brought this Cardiff team. So yeah, a great win for Cardiff. 50
of you in the stream. If you could give us a like, subscribe, 12 away from 18.3. So if you could subscribe, that'd be appreciated. Charlie Patina.
Yes, sorry,
reading this here. Then he said, "Want to win for Blackpool."
He said it though, didn't he? He actually said what he said in the chant. He actually shouted it. Fair play to him.
Yeah, big win. It feels with Ian Evatt because they started well and they lost that game away at Burton, didn't they? And lost at home to Reading, where we thought they were in real trouble. And they beat Peterborough and they beat Cardiff. Ian Evatt's won 5 of his 9 league games. He's drawn 2, he's lost 2. That's promotion for him. Right? That's 17 points across 9 games. That's not a bad return from, especially with the games he played. They won back-to-back away games now, unbeaten in 4. Big win for the Seasiders this at home. The goal was brilliant. It was a husband with a slip ball down the side, and then Imre into the box and blocks him. A nice 3-piece move. I think it was husband on the highlight. It was hard to make out. Danny Imre,
the Blackpool players all by look.
That's what they've been missing for a while, Danny Imre, because he got injured in that 2-2 draw against Luton. He's a good player. He was very good at Bromley last year. I watched that Luton game and they got a point, probably could have won it, probably could have lost it, really, that night. The story of Bloomfield and the story of Bruce got sacked a week later, really. But they're starting to move in the right direction, Blackpool, and they are a side that get better as seasons go on. They're now outside the dreaded Dotland line. They're at 26 points, unbeaten in 4, taking 10 points of that. They're only 9 points off the playoffs, if you want to go that far, but now it's just getting to 50 points. They beat Doncaster yesterday. They weren't great. It wasn't the best of performances. It was only 1-0, but they were much better than Doncaster, in my opinion. And the North Stand was rocking. And when Blackpool fans get going, they're hard to stop. I believe that they're taking well over 1,000 supporters to Ipswich. I think Trade Trekker, the sponsor, is putting on free coaches, which is excellent. It feels like the fans are coming together. That's all they've been missing. They've had no relationship between owner, supporters, manager, and the fan base. It feels they've got that back now. It was only a 1-0 win, but they're moving in the right direction. I think they've got Rotherham next. Go and win that. You never know. One game at a time. Blackpool 1, Doncaster 0, Jake.
Yeah, my focus really, I think, as good as Blackpool were, and Danny Imray deserves all the plaudits he's going to get because he played exceptionally well on Friday. Sorry, it's so used to saying Saturday. I worry about Doncaster, Ben. I know you probably want to have a chat about it, but their form is alarming. I spoke to a Donny fan earlier, Ben, and he spoke about Brandon Hanlon looks like the only decent League One player in that team at the moment. You know, that's a team, if you look across the board, that pretty much got them promoted. You know, they've even taken Lotatala out of net because he's had a couple of high-profile mistakes, but Bailey was a mainstay last year. Sterry, Broadbent, Maxwell, Clifton, Molyneux, all these players were massive parts as to why they went up. And I've seen a lot of questioning of Grant McCann over the last sort of 24 hours or so. And I do get it because they don't have a plan B, Doncaster. They try their game plan. They don't move for anything. A little bit like Cardiff, but Cardiff, it seems to work because they've got the quality for the league. Doncaster are clearly playing with a lot of League Two standard players. And when you're consistently trying against better opposition, what you did last year, and it's not working, and Grant McCann doesn't have that in his locker to go and switch shape or to switch formation and go slightly longer, I do worry about Doncaster, and they are slipping into that. You know, they're not far. I mean, what, they're 7 points in front of Vale. Admittedly, they're not a million miles away from the rest of the league, whatever. But I do worry about Doncaster, and I do think they could find themselves in one of those red relegation spaces at the end of the year. They're just, I don't know, really, really, really poor. But fair play to Blackpool, a great win for them.
1 win in 15 matches for Doncaster. They've also lost the last 4 games, conceded 12. Only Plymouth have conceded more goals than Doncaster. That's 1 more, 37 to Doncaster's 36. It's worrying times for Rovers. And like you say, them and Port Vale had a bit of momentum at the start of the year. Vale took a bit longer to get going, but Doncaster feels like they're in that mid part of the season slump where they're struggling. Wimbledon are in there in a minute. We'll get talking about them. Peterborough 1, Leyton Orient 0. No team in League One have conceded more away goals than Leyton Orient, 24 of which. Orient one of 2 clubs not to draw away from home yet this season. Who do you think the other one are, Jake? Orient have won 3, lost 8. The other team, 5 wins, 6 defeats away.
That might be Bolton.
That is Plymouth. They won 5, they lost 6. Yeah. I'm surprised they've won that many, to be fair. It's weird. But they won all those games back to back, didn't they? So that,
yeah, they did.
Peterborough in the first 7 had won none, drawn 1, lost 6. In the last 14, they've won 9, they've drawn 1, they've lost 4. They've taken 28 points across the last 14. It took a team coming from nowhere, just getting in somewhere. They're building momentum now. Late winning yesterday, the winning game that they weren't. They've won 4 on the spin, all by the odd goal, back-to-back 1-0 wins. They did lose the previous 4 games in all competitions, but Williams is building something special. In Fergie's last 6, he won 3 and he lost 3. Yeah, they've built on that, and they've won 6 of the last 8.
Yeah, they're top of the form table over the last 10. They've got 21 points in the last 10 games.
Why not? You know, you look at it, right? Yes, the 13th, the 28th, they're only 7 points off. They're level on points with 9th, and then 4 points off Luton with a couple of home games coming. You know, home game against Reading, and then the January game, New Year's Day, Rotherham, Lincoln away, then Bolton, Plymouth, Wycombe, Stevenage, tough January, Huddersfield. They can weather the storm and get 1.5, 1.6 points a game. Well, I think they've got more than a chance.
Yeah, and look, this was Peterborough's 3,000th game in the EFL, and what an apt way to mark it with a 94th minute, the way that Peterborough United love to do it best. Yeah, I thought they were okay. I didn't think there was a lot in the game, to be honest. I thought both things were pretty. They both looked like they're slightly just like they maybe had a bit too much turkey on the day before, a little bit like we said with Will Norris, bless him. But yeah, it just when that moment comes, Archie Collins a ball in. I think it's defended quite poorly, and Frith is out at the back post. I don't think he knows it's hit him when it did, but still a great header. It's a big moment for him. He's come over from Switzerland. A lot of hype around him to be the Poku replacement, and for him to score at home is a big moment for him, no doubt. So I'm sure he enjoyed that. Yeah, Leyton Orient just. Again, woes away from home. Tepid, that defence letting them down. yet again, mistakes. I don't know what it is, why they're just so poor away from Brisbane Road. But yeah, like you say, Peterborough, top of the form table over 10 games, looking hunky dory. Get to January, ship a players out, get some of the ones that they want in. If they can maybe add a wide attacking player to complement Lisby and Thrift, and if they can maybe get a centre forward to challenge Harry Leonard, this Peterborough team could do anything. They really could. So yeah, a great win for Posh. Yeah, they're doing all right at the minute.
And finally, Wimbledon 0, Stevenage 0. No winning 8 for Wimbledon, Jake. 5 of those Wimbledon haven't scored in. Are they going for a mid-season bad patch? Do you think they just need to find a win from anything? Just 4 points above the drop now. They've lost more games than they actually have won. Obviously, I know they drew yesterday. But back-to-back 0-0s at home. My concern is the games that they haven't won. Port Vale, Burton, Wigan, Mansfield and Stevenage all at home. They've not won any of those.
Yeah.
That's... You've got to be winning at least 2 of those, and if they do, they're at 32 points, and you're probably thinking that they're nearly home and dry.
Yeah, they're making up for points that they won earlier in the season in games that you probably wouldn't have had Wimbledon down to win at home. I think they beat Wycombe, they beat us, they ran Cardiff close, didn't they? So they were picking up points in games that maybe you didn't expect. So yeah, I think it's a decent point for them. It keeps the points ticking over. Not a huge amount of quality in this game. A typical 0-0. Stevenage must have drawn about 18, 19 games since coming into League One 0-0. They're just the perennial borers, aren't they, in terms of chances? They're so tight at the back. And in many ways, I think Wimbledon are as well. I know they're on a bit of a poor run, but they've built this team over keeping clean sheets and being defensively solid, haven't they?
One thing I'll say, these two teams play the same style. They'll
be cancel each other out.
15 minutes to go.
Yeah, cancel each other out, and you know what? I think maybe Wimbledon will be happy with a point. I know they're on that long winless run or whatever, but a point against the Stevenage team who are going well. They have beaten some good teams away from home this year, Blackpool, etc., Leyton, Orient as well. So yeah, I think they'll take that. But yeah, a 0-0 draw. Shall we move on to predictions, Ben?
Absolutely. You get it up, and I'll get the table up.
Yes. So Ben, predictions this week. We're still neck and neck going into Monday's games, 8 apiece. You getting obviously 8 correct outcomes, but no correct scores. I think I got 1 correct score. So big thanks to Sam Nomble and Josh Sheehan for scoring in the last minute. Otherwise, I wasn't going to get any points. So I got the Bolton score right. So that leaves us both on 146 points going into Monday's games. Do you want to do the games first or the table?
We'll do the table first.
Go for it, lad.
Should we go? We'll go bottom first. There we are.
We'll do bottom first.
Port Vale sit bottom. That bottom 4. Talk to me, Jake. How close is it? And you look at the sides at Peterborough trending upwards. Sides at the bottom. Doncaster trending downwards. Rotherham struggling. You've got a bit of inconsistency between Wigan and Plymouth, and Blackpool have improving, and Northampton, typical 16th in the team division. Same with Burton. Wimbledon struggling. How would you assess that bottom half, Jake?
Tight, apart from Port Vale. So they look like they're pretty much gone. Like you say, Doncaster trending downwards. Wimbledon, you'd expect, will be involved in the conversation slightly more heavily, maybe as we enter the new year as well. And one team that I don't think we've spoken about a huge amount in terms of worry about them going down. I mean, you look at the teams picking up around them. Blackpool, Plymouth have had that little brief spell, haven't they? Mansfield getting that win, that feels like they've turned the corner ever so slightly. Burton now, 3 undefeated. Is Wigan, Ben? They are. I know they've won a couple of games in the last 6, as you can see there, but they do feel like they are trending downwards a little bit, don't they? And the football's not exciting. They're not scoring as many goals as maybe they were at the start of the season. And they're losing games. And yesterday, a lack of discipline is costing them. And I think that must be at least 3 red cards that they've had this season now. So, yeah, really poor from Wigan. I worry about them. And Rotherham as well, like you say, that's no wins in the last 6. They're right bang in trouble. Whereas you can see the likes of Peterborough, the likes of, maybe not Exeter. They've lost. I didn't realise they'd lost 4 of the last 6. But I feel like there's maybe a team that could yet drop into it.
Absolutely. We'll move on to the top half as well. For me, Leyton Orient are the typical mid-table side that I think they'll be in and around where they are now, similar with Reading and Wycombe. Barnsley are the same, and I think it's those top 8 onwards, and there might be an outsider like a Peterborough. Wycombe, maybe if they went on a good run and improved away. Luton feel they're starting to move in the right direction. Those 3 draws, you go back to haunt you, but they could be the start of something. You remember Lincoln's run a couple of seasons ago, where they went, was it 12 unbeaten, and they started with 3 draws? 16 unbeaten, they started with 3 draws, didn't it? Wycombe away, Peterborough at home, and there was it was the big game, Derby. I know they got promoted that year. I know it was a big side at home. It could be that. Huddersfield, big wins, unbeaten 4. If they can continue the trajectory, 40 goals scored now. Stockport, I worry about that. Stockport feel a bit like Peter Wright in the rankings. It feels like they're there because they had a good run a couple of ages ago, and they're just there on the merit of it, and they're just kind of slogging along, and they'll get a win now and again, and they've not been great. Stevenage feel that, although the Stevenage feel like they've not won for ages, but they're still there, but they have been winning games of football, as you can see. They're just slogging along now. They're not winning as much as they were, but they're not losing games. They're hard to beat. Bolton look good, but can they do it on a regular basis? Bradford City are another one that are pulling wins out now. You can look at that and go 12 points collected from your 5 games, which is a really good amount, 2.4 points a game. And then Cardiff City, top of the league, with Lincoln just in behind them on a great run in there. All Lincoln have done, they can obviously no promise away, but Lincoln have been doing this for the last 2 or 3 years, up to October, up to November. All they've done is they've done it for an extra 8 weeks now, and Lincoln are showing what they've done in parts. Lincoln have been a top 6 side, in my opinion, for 70% of seasons, but it's that 30% that Lincoln are probably a 5th or the 6th best team in the season for 70%. But for that 30%, they're probably a bottom 6 side, and then they finish 9th or 10th, which I think is fair, Jake.
Yeah, well, hopefully that doesn't happen this year, but still, the top of the table is quite tight. Having this conversation earlier with some people about how the table is basically split into a couple of leagues within itself, isn't it? It looks like maybe the top 8, Barnsley, it depended if they win those games in hand, that could decide their season. If they don't win any of those games and are on 28 from 22, then we're maybe talking about Barnes as part of that mid-table bottom half pack. If they win all of them, then they're very much involved in the conversation where Lincoln, Bradford, and Bolton are at this minute in time. So, yeah, big couple of weeks for them. Does feel like 6 of the top 8 at the moment, doesn't it? With Luton and Huddersfield just breathing down the necks. But yeah, no, I think it's good. I love how the leagues are tight. I really do. I'm enjoying it. So
there's a gap though, isn't there, between the 6th and the teams outside and Huddersfield, but other than that, a 3 or 4 game spurt, and you're in, aren't you?
Of course you are, and that's how that's how you want it all the way up to the end of the season. That just keeps it competitive, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Any questions to finish us off as we do predictions now? But if you could like the stream, that'd be appreciated. I'm not sure how many likes we're on, but subscribe down below. We're 12 away from 18.3. Let's see if we can hit it by the end of December. We've got another show on Tuesday. Jake's not here. Mystery co-host. There we are.
Mystery co-host. Yeah, this is my last show of 2025. I would
Go
on.
A big thank you to Jake, by the way, for everything he's done this year. And I'm not, this will sound, everything I praise Jake for sounds sarcastic. But I would like to say thank you for Jake, everything that he does for me, not just on the show, because he's a very good co-host. Jake gets criticised for his views on stuff and laughed off at stuff, but Jake is a very good co-host that if Jake got taken off this show, genuinely, you'd notice a difference. Believe me, the production level would go up. The ability to come on a live show and talk without looking at notes at times, clearly in a fashion of what you're talking about, have a bit of personality, have a blend of that, is very rare. There's people I've worked with over the years that are very good at what they do, and they're very knowledgeable, but they've got no personality, and there's nothing there between, co-host, and hopefully on the show it comes across that we're really good friends, which we are. Jake is, one of my best friends, and I appreciate you also. Jake, thank you very much for everything you've done in 2025.
Thanks, mate.
I appreciate you, mate.
Will I go be sick? Or
but there's just one thing I need to say. Sign the contract.
Yeah, we're gonna have this
conversation. By the way, this is going to happen. You click this up. You're not going to sign the contract. That's fine. In a month's time, when Lincoln go off, I'm going to go contract withdrawn.
Yeah, what a surprise.
So sign it while you've got. It's that old manager cliche. You sign on a new contract. And they go to crap. But yeah, big thank you to Jake. Round of applause for Jake in the chat below because he's done a great job in 2025.
There'll be no one clapping
to be fair, I think you've only missed one show this year. Upton. Yeah, I don't think you've missed one.
I don't think I have at all.
No, you've not missed one. So thank you. This year he's not rang me at 7:59 saying I can't come on with a mystery illness of I'm whipped by my girlfriend Itis. Well done, Jake.
Yeah.
Singles away, mate. Well done, pal.
Yeah, we'll be doing that for a little while longer. That is fair to say. Thank you for the nice words, Ben. You're a good bloke as well. There you are. There's my nice words back to you. You do put a lot of hard work in. So obviously I think out of everybody, I get to see it more than most, and I get to see the wonderful behind the wizard, if so to speak. Right, we'll do some predictions then, Ben. I'll start with you.
He needs to reply back to me text messages because he doesn't these days. So the day he replies to me text message, maybe we could talk about a show.
It might, if they could beat QPR at home, then they might do. By the way, big goal for Big Mac again, winning goal against Charlton yesterday. What a boy! That's 8 goals in the champ for him now. Doing all right.
Jay put on yesterday. So proud of you, and I just replied, "How?" And he goes,
"He's injured,
mate."
Yeah, he's injured. But yeah, Big Mac doing the business for Norwich City. Ben, AFC Wimbledon, Exeter City.
Wimbledon 2, Exeter 1.
Yeah, I was going to go 1-0 to AFC Wimbledon.
You do go as far as this is the
6-pointer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has the makings of it. Barnsley against Lincoln. Am I confident? How confident? Why not? Barnsley 1, Lincoln City 2. I feel confident. Maybe I shouldn't be. This is maybe the game where we get called.
Barnsley 0, Lincoln 3.
Oh, that'd be lovely, that. I'd really enjoy that. Ben, Blackpool versus Rotherham United.
I went round to my family's on Christmas Day, right? And I said this, and I'm not going to ruin the tradition. Every game, every week I do this. Blackpool 2, Rotherham 0.
What a shot! I think if we did a league table based on our predictions,
Blackpool will be top of the league.
Yeah, they'd have won every game so far this season.
No, you know something? I predicted Blackpool to lose 5 games, and they've won all 5 or drawn. They're a good side. Dale Taylor went off yesterday. I think that's injury. He went off very early.
Yeah, they're a good side. I'm going to go 2-1 to Blackpool. Bolton versus Mansfield. I'm going to go Bolton Wanderers 2, Mansfield Town 0.
Bolton 3, Mansfield 1.
Bradford City, Ben, versus So We Play Port Vale.
Bradford 2, Port Vale 0.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1-0 to Bradford. Burton Albion versus Wigan. I'm going Burton 1, Wigan 1. Repeat of last year.
Yeah, it kept Burton up.
I was there. No scrapping with the
Burton 2, Wigan 1.
Big win for Burton.
30 points.
Ben, Cardiff against Stevenage.
Cardiff 2, Stevenage 0.
Yeah, that was my go-to. I'm going to go Cardiff 2, Stevenage 1. I think the gap will be...
We scored a goal at Cardiff. Our biggest ever season. Our Cardiff weekender. Love the boys. Love this team.
Huddersfield, Northampton. I'm going to go Huddersfield Town. Cobblers won it last year, didn't they? They've got Huddersfield.
Was it like Fosu scored?
Yeah, they've got Huddersfield's number a little bit.
Where is he now, Fosu?
He's free agent still.
Is he?
I think so, yeah. Would you have him at Fleetwood?
100%. But can he play wing back?
No, I don't think so. I feel like Northampton and Huddersfield played earlier in the year. They drew, didn't they?
You've had him before, by the way, Potter.
Yeah.
15, 16 season.
Huddersfield 2, Northampton 0.
Huddersfield 3, Northampton 1.
Right, Ben. Luton versus Leyton Orient. Mine's already made up here, unless you want to nick it from me.
Luton 2, Leyton Orient 0.
I'm going to go Luton 3, Leyton Orient 2. And that's
Is that
generous.
yours?
That's generous, yeah. I love the 3-2. Peterborough versus Reading. Going to go Peterborough United. I don't know. I feel like it's going to stop. Peterborough United 1, Reading 1.
Peterborough 2, Reading 1.
Plymouth Wycombe, Ben, at Home Park.
Plymouth 0, Wycombe 1. I don't think I've gone for an away win yet. So.
Plymouth 0, Wycombe 0. And then Stockport versus Doncaster. I'm going to go Stockport County 2, Doncaster Rovers 0. You love a 2.
Stockport 1, Doncaster 2.
Naughty. There you are. That's predictions.
Relegation bound sides always win at Stockport 2-1.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's the show, folks. I'll see you next year.
So, yeah, that's your last ever show. Thanks for your work, Jake.
2025. I'm intrigued to see who you get on Tuesday night.
I'm going to make a few phone calls.
Where are you going on Monday night?
Salford.
Oh, enjoyable.
Away. Yeah.
Enjoyable.
I'm doing commentary. I made a last minute decision to do commentary with Phil because I've been missing it. So I thought, why not?
Good work. Good work.
Good
work, everybody. Good show.
Great show. Thank you all. Thank you so much for everything. One big show left in 2025. A big thank you for your support so far. If you could leave a like, drop a subscription, that would be appreciated. Peterborough, there you are. I must have got that wrong. I do apologise. Yeah, because they've only drawn once or twice. They drew to Bradford, didn't they, at home? They drew another game of football at home. Was it 0-0? I think they drew to Bradford at home because Keane scored like 93rd minute equaliser. That was the first point of the season. See you later. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. Good show. Appreciate it. And our biggest ever League One Live. Thanks for watching. See, I've got a Fleetwood kit on there. We're back in League One.